Alright, so if Afenyo-Markin say you are nobody, I don't know how nobody is such an insult. We've moved on. Look, Rawlings called Kufuor a thief. Rawlings called Kufuor a thief. Yesterday I was just watching that video. Kufuor is a crook, he's a thief, etc. What did Kufuor as president do to Rawlings? Why do we have public officers suddenly developing very thin skin? They listen, you are a nobody. What is an insult about nobody?
All right, abusia ya science ashia bi me hia say dia na ensem no de ko ene de ba ni na na ye trase edi ho enkomo na abusia ensem bebre e wo ho endra we brought a lot of videos about NPP demonstration abusia e course so na ensem bebre e happy ye e wo akire ni na no. Yes, na me twan nipa ba ko amana ba be kasa na me ye call one or two bia abusia ende Wababe Kasa, lawyer Martin Kpebu, private legal practitioner, abusia Wababe Kasa, Edim Komo, Edia Fa Afenyo-Markin, Nana Yaa Jantuah, omu case no. Martin Kpebu, Ababe Dim Komo, Aki kan yisem pa, na hwan ena Martin Kpebu, Kasa, Edi Etiano, Ghana Politics TV, Mesro say, and then your first time on your video, I need you now subscribe. Edia mama said any update bia etomwa you be the first person abusia obenya bi atie enti abusia finally lawyer Martin Kpebu ababetre na adwen edia fa Afenyo-Markin and Nana Yaa Jantuah omo bat na abusia so endra na ende lawyer Martin Kpebu say Afenyo-Markin abra no the petition no ensem na o kan ya maame no a funny negative way say Afenyo-Markin aka awo nanim say or you nobody abusia sa ensem no and the lawyer said the Afenyo-Markin kan ye no boni bia enim na ye maame no respond now correspond ye ewo asempa amedi da video ne ba ye no Afenyo lawyer Martin Kpebu je say say government eba no be pa chew sa ensem na ye maame no ko kan ye no was said oba another patch because demonstration there was said Ghana. I was say demonstration near a bino it to me a year do my fast. Na say a bed demonstration, I say I can't or my can't someone. Na also other responding to Jomo can you know. Ain't my menanya one yadia cry into end lawyer Martin Kpebu I'll condemn it. Ya mammy Nana Yaa Jantuah ne some of a can you know. Now I was young and I mean Kasabi Martin Kpebu akasa amanfo bebre so etro madwen ewo mu na yenwura mu na yentie how lawyer Martin Kpebu eka ne nsem efaye emra.
Okay, so Mr. Kansi, my general comment.
Yes, quick.
Okay, yeah, so on the demo, you see, let's say this, generally is their right to demonstrate, right? So as a lawyer I cannot be heard to say they shouldn't demonstrate. I mean, you know, the Constitution, Article 21 of the Constitution, freedom of assembly, etc. And we have a rich and long history of demonstrations. So it's okay. What they've done galvanizes their base, because if you look at the numbers, it's good, because you know that the way NDC has a super majority in parliament, 2/3, etc., it's good to have a strong opposition. So once MPP is beginning to come together in order to help us keep the government in check, we should be happy, okay? That's in terms of the principle. The only part that detracts from what they're doing so far is the fact that when they were in government, we cautioned them, the bad governance, man-pam, all those things. They didn't mind us, right? And then they led us into a ditch, bench borrowing, Oforiata and the president's family making money at our expense, etc. But unfortunately, we don't have any other strong opposition party. They are the strongest. So we are caught between a rock and a hard place. Okay? But because of the overarching need to be able to help keep government accountable and keep the NDC government on its toes, we are forced to, let the NPP brief and then gather themselves well. Because we can't say because of all the bad things they did, then they should just go away. They can't talk at all. No, if we were to do that, this government may also get swollen-headed and may begin to do things that, of course, already people are even grumbling, which is normal because no matter how this government treats us, it's always also important that people will continue to complain because it's the complaints that act as the fuel. It's a complaint that acts as the oxygen to be able to cause the government to think harder and to improve our lot. Because all over the world, even the advanced countries, Norway, etc., where the living standards are far better, you still find citizens grumbling. So that is part of nature. You always need citizens to grumble, citizens to complain, so that it will move the government to do better. So for me, it's okay. It's okay. The only other point we should be mentioning is the barrage of insults. The listen, Afenyo-Markin, you are nobody, and then Jantuah, right? Not saying it negative. It was okay, but unfortunately, hours on, then Nanaya went to Asempa FM and now sought to reply. That one, to be very honest, it leaves a lot to be desired. I think that something has to be done. What Afenyo-Markin said, you are nobody. It was similar to what Atuforsen and Sami Jemfi and Co did when they went to present their petition during the Kufuor regime. At that time, the man they keep referring, let's correct this thing. The man they keep referring to as security man, he was a big man in the Air Force, and he was my mate in law school. So when we were even in law school, at that time, he was wing commander. Then after law school, more than 10 years, I'm sure he got several promotions. We can Google and see. That was a big man in the Air Force and a lawyer at that. But when he retired, then he got a job at the Bank of Ghana as head of security. But that's a senior military officer. Asare Boateng. He was my classmate in law school.
Right.
You see. And so the title, you just look at the title and said, so at that time, the NDC said it was disrespectful for Asare Boateng to come and receive the petition. And now, so if Afenyo-Markin comes to say Nana Yaa is nobody, to be very candid with you, it's not an insult. Look, our democracy is stronger than this. I told you that in 1999, we sang Kum JJ Maye, Kum JJ Maye, Nyami Kum JJ Maye. And I'm telling you that song is older. We are not going back. Look, sometimes public discourse need to be caustic. That's how can JM himself called Kufuor and Co. Achim Sakawa Mafia. That's what JM said. Who arrested JM? So these things, I think government, the JM has to talk to his people that, listen, they need to develop a tough skin. With giving them positions, they are servants, they should serve well. They are not to lord it over us. So if Afenyo-Markin say, you are nobody, I don't know how nobody is such an insult. We've moved on. Look, Rollins called Kufuor a thief. Rollins called Kufuor a thief. Yesterday I was just watching that video. Kufuor is a crook, he's a thief, etc. What did Kufuor as president do to Rollins? Why do we have public officers suddenly developing very thin skin? They listen, you are a nobody. What is an insult about nobody? Okay. Well, so that part, I think JM and his people, they need to sit back. I think to be fair,
that's your, that's your view. But then again, you grant Yaa Jantuah that right of how she feels about it.
Because no, but she's a public officer. It's not private feelings.
I mean, that's
she was standing in for the president. So throughout, she even said it, that she was representing the president. So you don't do well in receiving the petition. Then you go 2 hours later, she couldn't temporize. That's when her anger now came out. No, we can't. Remember, look, Anatete, you remember in 2015, Occupy Flagstaff House, when they went to, she did one small tweet, and see how Ghanaians punished NDC for it. So I think that, look, they should look at it. I think an apology will be in order. Let's remember the Anatete. Look, Ghanaians are very shrewd, though. Ghanaians are very savvy. Don't think that that's the end of this episode. Wait, in 2028, when they start playing it back, by then, there would have been a few other mistakes. When they put them together, NDC, they will win the election, but they will be in trouble. So I think that she has to come out and apologize. It's not about her feelings. We've put her in a public office. And in the Constitution, Article 1 says that sovereignty resides in the people of Ghana. So the people of Ghana are the masters. The public officer is not the boss. You are there to serve. So your master says something, you are not happy, there is a way you deal with it. Just remember the Hannah Tete tweet when Occupy Ghana went to serve during that demonstration. You see how coming to election they used it. So this particular Jantuah video, that's not the end with Sinabari. So I think government should do a bit of damage control. She must come out and apologize for that speech that is unbecoming of a public officer. It cannot be accepted. When I call it, one sentence, you see, let's understand that I'm a private citizen. So I can come up and say, Kufuado, Mampam, etc. We want to hold him account. But the public officer, you are in the saddle. It's different. You can't reply in that way. The citizens, as a sovereign, can say certain things, trying to, right? So the citizens can say certain things and go overboard. But the public officer doesn't have that right of reply to insult back. Yours is to say, oh, my brother, stop this, etc. Give education. As long as you remain in that office. If you want to trade those barbs, then resign and come into private life. Then there can be a clash. But not whilst you are in that public office.
Right. Kazo, and on the Wontumi matter, I think you were drawing my attention. You wanted to make a quick input on that. Then we'll just move on.
Yeah, Wontumi, like Adam Senanu said, Wontumi's case, actually, it's not a good one for the demo because the facts have always been clear. We, like Adam Senanu said, we reported Wontumi as far back as October 2022. That's the Tanon Nimiri Forest Galamsey. And so that's the case is now attending court. He was convicted on the Samra Boy Forest one. But now the second Galamsey case is attending court. That's the one myself, Adam Senanu, Kenashigbe, Kwame Sapoesedu, we reported him to CID. By that time, Andokofi CID boss and Dampare, through politics, they sat on the case and never took it to court. Then thank God we voted NDC in, and then now we are having justice. So if you look at Wontumi, say, how come, even apart from these two Galamsey cases, there were other cases, the Hansol case where AJ Frimpong, as trial judge, found out that they were doing Galamsey. There's another case in Takrade, Efia Nyako, Justice Efia Nyako, another case, Edua Mankwa Efia Nyako. Yeah. She also issues concerning Wontumi's company, Hansol. Wontumi lost. So there are two civil cases bordering on Galamsey, etc., that Wontumi went to complain and lost. So this conviction is not his first brush with the law on Galamsey matters. So it's not a good case for the demonstration. But as I've said, no matter how, in order to keep NDC in check, we will need a strong opposition. But the other part of demonstration, which that one, they have something to say and we are supported, is the fact that for 1.5 years, this current administration has arrested more people on the matter of this free speech than Akufo-Addo's 8 years. It's a bad record. It's a bad record for JM. They should be careful. For 8 years, the number of people Akufo-Addo's administration arrested are not up to the number arrested in 1.5 years in JM's administration. That is a bad record. JM should pay attention. You see, these things, they start small. Before he discovers, all the goodwill will be gone. He should let people speak. Yes, they will say you are join, you are this. But we say Akufo-Addo is stone deaf. Mampam, did Akufo-Addo arrest me?
Which you were made to obviously withdraw, obviously.
No, but we continue
then again,
since
yes,
then.
but
and even Nana Yaa Jantuah, she herself, she called the Akufo-Addo Nebuchadnezzar. So anytime we say Nebuchadnezzar, it's Nana Yaa Jantuah who popularized Akufo-Addo as Nebuchadnezzar. Look, let me land one second. Allow Ghanaians to land. Let me tell you, in South Africa, there's this case, the Constitutional Court killed the Boer meaning kill the white man. It went to court. The South African Constitutional Court held that kill the white man, that song, is a liberation song. It's not a song meaning literally just go and kill white. So it's the equivalent of our Kum JJ Mae and our Kum Ekufuado Mae. And don't be surprised if JM, they don't stamp this in very soon, that song will be sung for his JM. Listen, this country is far stronger. It's a rich history. Let's understand that area very well. Not the listing, no, you go and arrest people. No, JJ himself called Kufuor a thief, a sitting president. Kufuor didn't arrest JJ. If you like, just Google it. Even Black Rasta played back that tape just recently. Just Google it. JJ called Kufuor a sitting president a thief. Kufuor didn't arrest JJ because he understands that there's a grievance. If you enter public office, you need a thick skin. And that's what Okoboy, Dr. Okoboy, former, is it Minister of Health or Deputy? Yes, he said it. When you enter public office, you need a thick skin. So please, JM, I think they should sit up. As for their insults, there's little you can do. It's part of the accountability thing. That's our own thing. It's not going to go away. So we better maybe have a conference, rethink, but you can't shut people down by their arrest. No.
There's a question Adam Sand was put. I'll come to you. He said if that's the kind of standard that we should be setting for the democracy that we are practicing, the fact that certain comments, although derogatory, should be normalized, and having a thick skin for derogatory remarks. Is that what we want to hold as a standard for our politics, for our democracy, Martin Kpebu?
Obviously, no. Obviously, no. But you don't use we, the top people, as the only standard. We have a lot of our people, and even when you say the top people, who are the top? I just told you that Jantuah herself, she said Ekufuado is Nebuchadnezzar. Somebody made a song, Ekufuado is Mampam. Ekufuado didn't arrest that person. I also kept repeating it. My Mampam friend is Adam Bona. He likes that word. And then other people. Mampam saying that Ekufuado is stone dead. JJ called Kufuor a thief, a certain president. That's even around the 2000s. So Kufuor didn't arrest JJ, etc. So that thing, we need to understand it well. It's easy to just come and sit there and say, that's not the standard. Yes, I also don't support it. But if you look at the groundswell, look at Kevin Taylor. Kevin Taylor, when he comes into Ghana, who protects him? It's not national security. You know all the things Kevin Taylor says, said against Ekufuado. You know all the things Kevin Taylor said against Ekufuado and his appointees. Yet when he comes into Ghana, it's James national security that gives him protection. Please, so this thing, let's stop blowing hot and cold. It tells you that people are not happy. Yes, I support JM. I supported him because Ekufuado couldn't do better. But it doesn't mean if he does some things that are wrong, I will not say it. Just for example, I've told him that no, this extension from 4 years to 5 years is not on. I don't need to insult him. But I'm saying that people in expressing the dissent, sometimes the insults come. It's not the best. But arresting people too is not the best. At the end of the day, you end up arresting the whole society. So let's sit back and see what we can do, because these things, they started, even Kwame Nkrumah met them. You read Kwame Nkrumah's books, people were booing him in the 60s and insulting him. So these things didn't start today. So if you don't understand the cultural context, if you don't understand the cultural context,
Council, right? This is probably not part of our culture. I don't think it is. I mean, insulting elders is not.
It's always been there. It's a lie. Anybody who tells you that it's never been there. It's always been there.
It's been there, but also condemned. But because I see the line, yes. I see the line that you draw in the fact that you don't support this action of insulting elders, whether it was then in the former President Kufuor or now. But then it is the act of remedying that same action that you don't support, which you are against.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So we can condemn those people. That's why I said we can have a national discussion. Let's agree on some modus, maybe naming and shaming, maybe only a fine. If we catch somebody, only a fine. But we should also be careful. Some of the things that are said to be insults, they've become part of our national discourse. We've accepted them. Like the one that you say, God, kill the president. That one is not going back.
That's why I have a bit of a difficulty. You see, we can't normalize. We can't normalize that abnormality.
It's been there for long. No. The South African Supreme Court has already shown you, kill the boa. It's a liberation song. So when we say kum jeje mayen, kum ekufado mayen, and etc.
And that's why you even talk about, if you talk about culture, it's our way of life. What is may have been accepted in South Africa, you would not accept it here in Ghana.
Oh,
okay.
When
so
we say culture,
it is the reference point that I'm looking at.
Reference point.
You see,
you should understand. I'm telling you that song is far older. It didn't start with JJ. I'm telling you that Kwame Nkrumah's time, etc. So let people haven't read. You just come when you're not happy with something. They say this one is not part of our culture. I'm telling you that this thing about how we talk to the presidents, you saw that it's older than even Kwame Nkrumah's time. It was part of the struggle for independence. It's there. Those were some of the things we used to drive out the colonial government. Those were part. So please, when people haven't read, they should stop just coming. You just use your mind. This is not culture. You know how old those tools have been? They are far older. They were part of the struggle for independence. Part of the struggle. Kwesi Broni. Those were part of the things we used to get independence.
Who wants to make a quick comment on this quickly? Because
I mean, understand where Martin is coming from, and I think that he did a better job of articulating some basis for this protest, this so-called democracy is under attack, where he says that okay, within 18 months, the number of persons who have been arrested on freedom of expression issues, it far exceeds the entire 8 years. I think that is a red flag we should pay attention to. And yes, if we want to say the government of the day should pay attention, that I align with Martin on that. Except to say, the comments that were passed, whether it's a Priscilla Dua, a Daniel Nkansa, a Prince Ofori, or an Obama, did it breach the law? What was the extent? Was it something that touched on the persons? Was this scandalous? Are they things that the people took up? That's where I would like to look at it. And maybe to build on what Martin was saying, perhaps we need to look at that space. Freedom of expression, what is going on here? Because if you're not careful, it could certainly be that we now have a group of people who think that this is our way of doing things and are just insulting. Or coming up with allegations that have no foundation.
So you disagree with Martin Kpebu?
No, I'm to a certain extent, I'm varying what he's saying. I'm saying that you need to go into exactly what was said. Did it have a basis? Was the arrest, were laws breached during the arrest? How was the arrest done? Are these people who needed to be cautioned? And if that's a space we need to sanitize and say, look, in cases like this is how it should be handled. I think that is something we can talk about. But it could be the case that too many people were coming up with allegations that have no foundation or basis, and that is why this arrest happened. We need to understand the merits of each case to be able to draw a conclusion whether the 18 months to have so many people picked up was something that is seriously a red flag or there is a basis.
But you raised a question of departure from Martin Kpebu, his justification of the insults being part of our...
I think so.
He's justified why his position should be, but...
I have a bit of a worry there, because before you know it, the standards may be watered down. I mean, our cultural norms, you can get into a dispensation where people are all insulting. And even though it used to be the exception and not the rule 5 years ago, if you're not careful and very stringent action is not taken, then everybody begins to, it's like we can make allegations anyhow, we can insult anybody now. And that's where you probably then have law enforcement wanting to be, robust in picking up people, cautioning them, and so on and so forth. So we need to understand on a case-by-case basis what actually transpired. And I feel that, look, if these people's rights were abused, then the party should take that up in court.
On the matter of culture, you say, Martin Kpebu says we shouldn't even stretch it there because these insults and acts have been part of our culture.
I don't want to accept that we should make it our culture. I think we shouldn't normalize it. I think we should still keep the bar high and try and frown on persons who do that. So I align with him when he says, and I'll do it both ways. He's saying we should check whether he said nobody. If the word wasn't nobody, then...
He did not. I mean, if you're quoting him verbatim,
it was not nobody.
Specifically, this is what he said.
What did he say?
I think we have the video. We're even going to play.
I think it's good to so that we deal with the facts, because it's also
Yes.
not fair to if he did not say that, And so on both sides, if Nana Jantuah eventually made comments whose tone and content especially were not acceptable, both.
He said, with great respect to you and without prejudice to your presence, to nominate only you to come amounts to disrespecting us as a political party.
Okay, I think that then we cannot say.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honorable David,